Welcome everyone to the Gavel. I'm Terry Ikumi. This week, we'll take a tour across the northern region of the country for the ongoing Constitution Review public hearings. Groups in the Northeast have so far presented requests for the creation of states from the 6 existing states of the region. The proposed states are Amana, to be carved out of Adamawa and Askruba local government areas of Borno State, Savannah States, Kwararafa and Muri from Taraba State, as well as Katagum from Bauchi State. The Borno State House of Assembly also made a request for the financial autonomy of state houses of assembly. Also, stakeholders in the Northeast are proposing the creation of 22 local government areas in the region. At the Northeast Zone A public hearing held in Gombe State, submissions were also made for reserved seats for women and the devolution of powers. A total of 46 memoranda and 117 requests have been submitted to the House of Representatives on the amendment of the 1999 Constitution by stakeholders in the North Central zone of the country alone. The submissions were made at the North Central Center A public hearing, which held in Mina, Niger State. So here's a detailed report on the hearings in the Northeast and the North Central.
On the first day of the 2-day zonal public hearing on the Senate review of the 1999 Constitution for the Northeast, stakeholders from the 6 states of the region, including Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba and Yobe, as well as civil society organizations, ethnic, religious and traditional institutions were present. Some organizations displayed placards and banners to register their demands. At the opening session, some of the political leaders in the region made a case for the review, stating the need for increased inclusivity.
However, several fundamental issues of national importance remain unresolved, requiring more than just routine lawmaking by the National Assembly and state houses of assembly. These issues continue to dominate public discourse, with many Nigerians advocating for legislative actions to address them.
We who are representing the Northeast in the National Assembly, working with our colleagues in the 6 states out of Assembly in the Northeast, will work for the interests of the people of the Northeast.
Leading the plethora of requests was the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly.
The right to freedom of expression is guaranteed by Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution. Hence, you should feel free and present your memoranda for consideration in the ongoing amendment of the 1999 Constitution.
The Northeast Zone A public hearing for the 1999 Constitution Review brought together participants from Bauchi, Taraba and the host state Gombe, with Governor Inwa Yahaya in attendance. The event, which focused on 13 thematic areas, also had civil society groups, professional and non-professional organizations in attendance.
We are going to collect presentations across board by institution, government, civil liberty organizations, religious bodies, traditional institutions, and even private individuals who felt that the constitution of the country is supposed to be in this particular way or manner. We are going to do justice. We are going to be balanced. We are going to be fair. And we are going to report back whatever are your submissions, undiluted, unpolluted, in verbatim.
There are about 12 themes under which these bills are organized. These themes are electoral reforms, which are very important, judicial reforms, very important, the legislature itself, very important, inclusive governance, very important, and there are electoral reforms. There are 12 bills contained in this compendium. These 12 bills are collectively aiming to address the conduct of all general elections in a single day. Also, addressing the issue of decamping from one political party to the other as a ground of impeachment for both the executive and the legislative arms of government.
The hearing kicked off with a demand for the creation of more states in the Northeast.
What the Constitution says, you only alter one particular, only one section in the Constitution that allows you to create state. And that section says there are 36 states and Abuja in Nigeria. So if you alter that, probably you say, if you want to add 12 more, you can say, okay, 36 states and Abuja and 12 more to be created. Or you may even simplify the language by saying 36 states plus Abuja and others to be created in future.
The much talked about reserved seats for women was also tabled.
As we all know, in our Nigerian political space today, only few women are involved or getting at the top in the political space due to some barriers, cultural, religious, and even the cost of politics. So, with following the global standard, affirmative action, and how other countries around the world have gone far, this bill we are trying to bring it to Nigeria to accelerate inclusion of women for the development of our country at large. Imagine our population, 50% of Nigerian population are women. And the perspective of these 50% are not hard because they are not in the governance. So we hope this bill will bring the acceleration we have been praying for, and it will bring greater development in all perspectives to our nation.
A constitutional lawyer, however, raised some concerns.
It speaks volumes that women are subhumans. They cannot favorably compete with humans. That is what it implies. It's discrimination. If you say it is disability, for instance, except if a job or a position requires that someone should have 2 legs or 2 hands or 2 eyes, let's say the armed forces, it is glaring that a cripple, a physically impaired or challenged person does not fit in those kind of jobs. They don't have to indicate that A, B, C, D has to happen. A cripple cannot go and want to join the armed forces. It is a venture that requires physical fitness, running around in the bush, confronting some external aggressors or internal subverters. So it is a cripple who will tell himself that this is not where I belong. But if you are setting aside certain positions in a government job, for instance, and you say these slots are for persons with disability, whether they are blind, whether they are lame, whether they are without arms, or whatever the form of disability is, it is subjecting the persons of that category to a further discrimination.
For Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State, the engagement of the citizens in the constitution review process is commendable and necessary.
History has shown that constitutions are not static documents. They must evolve to meet the changing aspirations of the people. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, born out of Nigeria's return to democracy, was itself an inherited framework with roots in military decrees. And over the years, it has undergone 5 amendments in 2010, 2011, 2017, and 2023. Yet, some limitations still persist, particularly in areas of federalism, resource allocation, local governance, and fundamental rights, and thus necessitating continuous review in order to reflect the realities of the moment.
Meanwhile, government officials, lawmakers from federal and state levels, traditional leaders, women groups, youth and students associations, members of the civil society and non-governmental organizations from Kogi, Niger and Kwara states, which make up the North Central Center A, converged on Minna to make their inputs into the constitution review process. The Niger State government's position paper was presented by the Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Nasiru Muazu.
The agitation sought for, or the bill brought, seeking to create a national electoral commission for local governments, to our view, we rejected that and we have the view that the status be maintained, while the state governments will be vested with the responsibility of forming election tribunal for local government elections. We have also touched on the composition of the Supreme Court. There's a bill seeking to increase the number from 21 to 45. We have accepted that because we have the view that that will reflect the composition of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in the sense that each state will have a representation in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. There is also a bill seeking to increase the number of the justices in the Court of Appeal from the present number to 99.
Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State, represented by the State Attorney General, underscored the importance of having a people-driven constitution.
The question left unanswered is, in what circumstances exactly will a law enacted by the House of Assembly of a state give way to an act of National Assembly? Is it where such law was made on any of the items on the concurrent legislative list? What of the situation where an item legislated upon by the House of Assembly of a state is neither in the exclusive nor concurrent legislative list, as it is within its right to so make, and then there's an act of National Assembly? What is the position of the Constitution? Several of these are there in the Constitution, hence we call for clearer provisions of the law in this regard.
In the face of security threats across the country, the traditional rulers believe being included in the Constitution will help bridge the widening gap between the government and the people.
The 1999 revised Constitution actually usurped or filling out the specific role of traditional institution, thereby breaking the link between the government and the government. This thing has been very, very much effective in those other constitutions in the years past. So since we had that broken link between the government and the governed, we have so many challenges, especially in the areas of security and mobilization of our people, and even programs and projects of the government cannot be actually implemented satisfactorily. So we are praying that somehow that link will be joined again. The proper link that we have between the government and the government in the act of governance should be joined so that we have the advantage of governance.
Proposals were also made for the creation of new states.
We stand for equity, justice, and fairness to say that there is need for this assembly to consider creating states out of Niger State. On this premise, I would like to say that we have presented a memo to emirates from Niger State, Kwantagora and Burbu Emirate, plus one other emirate, Zuru Emirate, from Kebbi State, demanding for the creation of Kainji State.
The ongoing constitution review hearings are focusing on the 87 constitution amendment bills currently before Parliament, which the Deputy Speaker says has been broken down into thematic areas.
We're looking at the establishment of a local government election commission. We're looking at prevention of invalidation of election on grounds of deficiencies in the deputy's qualification. We're also looking at the appointment of chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission by a National Judicial Council, whether or not it is the right thing to do. We're looking at prevention of a dual position of the party executive and elective office, among others. So structural enhancements such as the establishment of the Political Parties Registration and Regulatory Commission, known as the PPRRC, and the Electoral Offences Commission, the EOC, conclusion of pre-election matters and petitions before swearing in is also proposed for consideration.
Welcome back to the Gavel. Continuing our focus on the zonal constitution review hearings, let's go to the Northwest. Kano State is demanding the creation of an additional state from its current boundaries and the establishment of 26 new local government areas in the state. The Deputy Governor of Kano, Mr. Aminu Gwarzo, submitted the proposal to the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review at the regional hearing in Kaduna. Issues like state police, fiscal federalism, and gender inclusion were advocated as well during the hearing.
Stakeholders, including state governors and their representatives from the 7 states of Nigeria's northwest region, gathered in Kaduna to make their contributions to the amendment of the Constitution. The aim is to ensure broader participation by citizens, foster the exchange of suggestions, and provide feedback on the areas that require review.
The review of our nation's constitution. This is a task of immense importance, one that will shape the future of our country and in fact generation yet unborn. The Constitution is the bedrock of our democracy, the foundation upon which our society is built. The review of the Constitution requires thoughtful deliberation, consideration, and deep commitment to the principle of justice, fairness, and inclusivity.
The Kaduna State government identified 6 key areas that require review in the amendment process, including state police, fiscal federalism, equitable resource control, and devolution of power.
We must realign our federal arrangement to reflect the principle of subsidiary, where group powers and responsibilities are devolved to the level of government closest to the people. The current over-centralization has stifled innovation, discouraged local problem solving, and alienated citizens. States must be empowered not only to legislate on local matters, but to control and benefit more directly from the resources found within their jurisdictions, while making constitutionally defined contributions to national development.
Kano State presently has 44 local government areas with a land mass of over 20,000 square kilometers and a population that exceeds 20 million people. The state government suggests the creation of a state and more local government areas to bring governance closer to the people.
Local governments are a significant component of the federation, being the authority closest to the grassroots. We fortunately observed the subtle and inadvertent exclusion of this vital tier of governance from the existing federal structure in the Constitution. To address this omission and confer formal and legal recognition to the tier, Kano State strongly supports the principle of local government reform. However, this reform must operate within a framework of fiscal prudence, accountability, and strategic alignment with the state's broader development agenda.
Submissions were also made by the representatives of the Katsina State government and traditional rulers. Some of the issues of concern include electoral and judicial reforms, as well as constitutional roles for traditional rulers.
Our stand on electoral reforms, on establishment of local government election commission, the state supports that local government elections be conducted by the State Independent Electoral Commission, and we advocate for electronic voting to be introduced to ensure credibility and transparency of the exercise. We also advocate for further voter registration to be exercised to ensure that all eligible citizens are enrolled.
We are saying we demand and we request, we are passionately appealing to the legislators and government and people of Nigeria to revert back to our former position, to be recognized in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are not asking for anything extra.
The committee is promising to consider all the submissions made at the public hearing and present same to the House of Representatives for deliberation.
On Constituency Focus this week, we'll speak with Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua, who represents Katsina Central Senatorial District.
I've done so many of the free medical care for my constituency, ranging from surgery of hernia, eye surgery, and giving of free drugs. And this has impacted well within my constituency. You know how drugs are today, very expensive for our people to get. So what we did was to ensure that, at least every month or every 2 months, we conduct a free medical outreach for our people, having different, dealing with different types of diseases. So we are going, category by category to do the best we can to provide drugs for them, to provide surgery for them, eye surgery and so on, cataract, and the rest of them. So that we have been doing on a monthly basis. We always bring out some medical outreach to see how we can impact. Yeah, where you have hundreds of people, thousands of them coming out to benefit from it. And the state government is also doing very well in that regard. Our hospitals are now up. We have over 1,000 primary healthcare centers have been built by our amiable governor. So he's doing very well in the health sector too. But ours is to try and augment and improve on what he's doing. I've also provided potable drinking water, especially to the rural areas where they don't have water is a challenge to them. So this we have been doing through constituency projects to identify villages where they don't have water, and also to improve insecurity. We provide solar lights, to ensure that a lot of the villages are lit up, to discourage these bandits, from sneaking in at night to go and, kill them. So this we have been doing. We have also been providing a lot of medical equipment, especially for our Federal Medical Center. I've provided an equipment worth 300 million, so that, that will improve, the healthcare system, because it's not everything that the federal government or the state government will provide. So wherever we see, gaps within the hospitals, we try to, put it as part of our constituency project. Right now, I'm also providing a mini grid in one of our general hospitals, to complement what the state governor is doing. So there are so many things we are doing, and primary health centers. I've built about 2 or 3 of them now. I'm also providing CBT centers, so that some of the local governments, our students who usually do carry out these exams, JAM exams, are given the opportunity. Some years back they have to go to Kano, to conduct, to go and write JAM. But today we have, the centers are not enough. So I'm focusing on such areas to ensure that every local government within my senatorial zone has a CBT center. So at least that reduces, the chances of our students moving outside their own local government to go and write JAM.
Thank you.
Aside from that, it helps improve their ICT skills, because after JAM, the CBT center is there. We're building them within secondary schools so that it becomes like a learning hub for computer training and so on.
Well, that's all the time we have on the Gavel. Thanks for watching. Send feedback to the Gavel at channelstv.com. I'm Terry Kumi. Goodbye.